Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. It's Larry Benedict, joined by Eric Shamilov. Good morning there, Eric.
Good morning, Larry. How are you?
A little tired. All good though. Market once again is up. Um, it was down yesterday and recovered pretty much. It was a weird day, to be honest. What was weird about it is the market, the NASDAQ at one point was down actually a couple of hundred and then somehow rallied all the way back. And during that time, guess what hit a record high yesterday? Always
Yeah,
something. You don't know.
no.
Dow Jones and the old Dow Jones hit an all-time high
Oh,
today.
yeah.
So they're bringing those things along. It's taken a while to get that all-time high, and market is up. Not a lot. 45 basis points Nasdaq, 35 basis points S&P. Nvidia CEO said, not Nvidia, AMD CEO said that. What did she say? It was a weird comment that that chip sales. I mean, it's a rabid appetite to buy chips for AI. Like, I mean, isn't that what's going to be the cause of what's going to happen here? Is that the overexpansion and everything like that is going to hit, and it's going to really be a problem when they're not going to get the orders. And to be honest, I've seen this before. Obviously not an AI because it didn't exist, but I saw this before in the 90s. I brought it up the other day with Micron Technology, which is also another hot stock that you're following that's been going crazy with DRAM prices and is up again today. I don't know. It's it's pretty unbelievable. And I think really the setup is there for this to actually happen. I actually think that this whole thing with this overexpansion and betting on, all of these new companies to be ordering and ordering and ordering, I just don't see it. And, as we know, yesterday SoftBank sold their stake in Nvidia. Stock was down 6.5, 7. Um, and you know what was up? When Nvidia is down, you know what stock goes up, right?
Which one?
Oh, dude, did you sleep last night? Like, what is going
I
on?
did not. I was
You don't know
trading.
what
I was
stock
trading.
goes up every time Nvidia is down.
I was trading late.
The
I
third
mean,
biggest company in the world, or the second, okay, the third. Okay, it's called Apple Computer, or Apple now, not computer. We used to be Apple Computer. So Apple was up 6, Nvidia down 6. Okay, this is the third or fourth time that actual trade has happened this year. And then what ends up happening is within 3 days, it comes right back. So today, as you can see, Nvidia is up, came in a little, it's up 2.5, and Apple is negative. So I like that trade. We'll be selling Apple, just not even really buying, Nvidia, but selling Apple. Um, it's it's unbelievable. I picked up on this trend, and then there's another one, this MOC stuff that I talk about. MOC, we literally, if it says to sell, you just buy it. If it says to buy, you just sell it. And I can show you, I take screenshots of it every single day. It goes the opposite of what is the posted imbalance, which is, I don't know, I'm going to call it spoofing the market. And it used to never be allowed to happen, but now somehow it's happening on a daily basis where they're just changing the imbalance. So we picked up on that cue. That's been working fairly decently. This Nvidia Apple spread trade, which has gone out incredible, about a month or two ago, there was a day that Nvidia was down like 12 and Apple was up 10. I mean, so I picked this pattern up and I like it. I like it for a trade. So just keep an eye on that. Um, It didn't
on that.
revert that much, but it's for sure interesting. And market's sitting again up 23 S&P points, 100 and change Nasdaq points, and um, we're on to a new day, and a lot of the stuff we talked about over the last couple of days are still prevalent in the market. Volatility index still, came in on the cash side, but still relatively high. Um, a lot of uncertainty, even though the market feels pretty certain. What's with the vote? When's the vote? When are they reopening the government? We rallied on Monday because they reopened the government, but they haven't reopened it yet. So when's the vote? Honestly, do you have an idea?
I have a different question. Do you think it actually matters? I mean, the market rallied on the government shutting down. Now the government's lifting off, and they're going to rally again. So what does that tell you? Tells me the market doesn't care about this.
Okay, it doesn't care about it for the minute, but it will care. I mean, it will care. And the thing is, okay, they reopen the government. Is that good? Is that bad? Does that matter? Like, I don't understand it. This is
I'll take the third, I'll take the third choice. The market is just totally acting like. Look, last week you had a market on the ropes. It got bought, but who bought? It was there was a Bank of America report out, and they pretty much specified who was buying. It was a lot. It was basically institutional buying ahead of the January effect, ahead of their year end. Mutual funds are at fiscal year end, so they had to rebalance. Now, albeit the rebalance that they were doing last week was a little bearish, a little bit defensive, but they were the net buyer on the dip last week. So there's so many dynamics at play that are like beyond the headlines, and sometimes just technicals take over. Like last week, the Nasdaq bounced like to the tick off of that 50-day moving average. They all came in, and it's just a question of flows. Some of these headlines just they appear like they matter, but I don't think they actually matter at all.
okay. Then nothing matters. Why don't you have six gold chains, a gold Rolex, and a Lamborghini outside your house if it seems as easy as what you're just saying? Okay. What is your problem? Why are you in the office? You should be freaking out. You should be out in South Beach driving around in your Lambo since you know the market's going to go up and it's easy. That's basically what
Oh,
you're telling people.
that already happened. Look, these
What do you
it's
mean
going
that
to
already
dominate
happened?
markets again. Just right now, it's not dominating price
I know, but
action.
what do you mean? What already happened? I'm not understanding. If you went home long last night and you think it's that easy, you'd be freaking, you'd be a crypto bro in the S&P. You'd be dancing. It ain't that easy, okay? I'm letting people know it is not that easy, okay? It is, I feel very differently. I feel like I I run strategies where we sell put spreads and call spreads. And every time the market ticks down a little bit, I freak out. You can ask Thomas. He left. So I don't know why the market's ticking up because he left. It should be ticking down, which it is a little. But honestly, I feel very different than you. Every time the market ticks down, even this morning, I woke up, SPOs were up 23, they went to up 14, and I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, I'm not set up. And the thing is, I'm a short guy. I make money, a lot of money when the market gets volatile and the market, either A has a two-way directional trade, two directions, up and down, which we don't have, or we go down. Okay. But I'm not set up. So, in full disclosure, I'm not set up to have this down move happen, especially today or, over the next couple of days, because I'm not set up and I'm usually set up and I don't feel comfortable because I've been a little bit lackadaisical. I mean, it's worked out for me. Okay. Or for me, the Wizard ETF. and my products inside of the opportunistic trader, which are doing very, very well right now. Um, it's worked out, but I'm not, you feel really, really comfortable. I don't feel that comfortable. Okay. I really don't feel that comfortable. And market is ticking up and market is ticking up, but net on balance, I'm short more put spreads than I am call spreads, and I don't feel good about that. So I know you think it's easy and whatever, but I have my hand on the trigger. We will not get caught when this thing, ticks down, which it may be a century from now, but we're not going to get caught. But when you come on and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, I knew, it's easy, it's always going up. I don't know.
I didn't say anything about knowing. I'm just looking back and saying, hey, institutions bought. They bought the dip because they
Eric,
had to
listen,
rebalance
I've
on
been
the business.
hearing, I love you. I love you. I've been hearing buy the dip, buying the dip. Everyone's buying the dip. I had a conference yesterday with some RIAs, and they're like, all the clients want to do is buy. But as soon as they buy and it goes against them, they call them up and start yelling at them like, they sell out their Nvidia, and then Nvidia goes down. They don't say a word. When it goes right back up, they're like, "Why'd you sell out my Nvidia?" I mean, it's a
Look, I
weird.
understand the easiest way to make money as a trader is when you have a beat on when the market's going to drop and just size up, right? Because we all know that you can make a killing in like 3 days. You can double your accounts and all that if you're trading futures, and you can have it's easier to make money when the market is dropping straight down, right? Because it's fast. It's harder to make money to the long side because it chops and chops and chops. So I mean,
I
you could
don't
look
see. I
at
don't
big
see
cap move forever, right? Like you,
what market are you seeing chop.
when is it going to drop? I mean, you're going to have liquidity going up in December. They're going to
Eric, the
be
market
increasing
is
risk
going to
assets.
drop. The market is going to drop when it drops, okay? And what's going to happen, okay, is the first 5%, which we have not had a 5% pullback all year since April, okay? We've had a 2% or 2.5%. And like you said, your guys are buying the dip on a 1% down day. Okay. And it's worked out. But the first 5% are the hardest 5%. And then after that, it's game over. Okay. And I'm telling you from my read of the market that the people are making a lot of money, but not enough. And when it goes down, they can't handle a loss. They can't. It's funny. I have a stock, my ETF. It's WZRD. Okay. If that thing moves the dollar, my clientele is freaking out. I don't know why, but they'll watch Nvidia go up and down $7 every day. Every day. So what's that about? I'm not understanding. They're okay with that. So the truth is, they're really not okay with that. It's just that they know every time Nvidia goes down, somehow it comes right back. And when that changes, which it will, and what's happening is what are we, November 12th or 11th? I don't know. I think it's the 11th or the 12th. Okay. How many more trading days do we have in the year?
Exactly.
20?
That's a great point. Actually, you just made. There's not a lot of trading days left in the year. I don't think anybody big is looking to sell before year end and take that tax hit. If the market isn't going to drop more than what they'll save on the what they'll pay up on the tax hit, they're
Well,
not. I don't think they're.
listen, I love when you say no one wants to pay taxes, but eventually, you have to pay taxes. Okay. You're going to need the money to live. Okay. Unless you're borrowing against your portfolio, which is not a recommended idea, which people are doing. And if, you want to talk about something crazy, like if you look at Fidelity, okay, they're, they're basically they're borrowing and their leverage is the highest on record. Is same thing with Robinhood. So I don't know. I mean, it just seems to me that the market is overowned. I'm telling you, I'm on a hair trigger. Okay. Meaning I'm not letting this thing, go down without me. Okay. we're up 22 handles. We're up 22 handles on S&P. It feels like we're up a million. Literally, it feels like we've melted up. And today, like I'm looking like yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine and I'm like, the Nasdaq was down like 150 and I'm looking at the Dow and it's up 400. I mean, it just seems like this is just a computerized rigged market. You got to figure it out. Um, you know, and you
Well,
gotta.
we had headlines last night from AMD. I think that what you're seeing so far this morning, the tone was set from AMD. Last night they had an analyst conference and they
Well,
laid out a long term plan to expand data
dude,
center.
I love
Yeah,
the long. Dude, that's perfect. The long-term plan in a chip market. Yeah, okay, that's something you can really control. Okay, there you go. Long-term plan in a chip market. Okay, which is needed ASAP, but they're needed. They got a 5-year window. Come on, this is unbelievable. And what she said, Lou. I got a Thomas when he gets back. I'll have him pull it, but it was a crazy statement. It was like there's an insatiable appetite to buy chips. Okay, I mean, what is that? Like, where are they going? Like, what do they need so many chips right now for? That I keep saying it to you. Like, I don't understand that how AI has exploded in use in the last 6 months. And if it has, OpenAI should be doing a lot more than $13 billion in revenue. Okay. And 13 billion sounds like a lot, but 13 billion in the world that we live in is like the old, you know, 10, it's like Dr. Evil, it's 10 million. I made 13 billion. Okay, whatever, dude. I mean, it, and then look at the response, okay, in Tokyo on the exchange in SoftBank yesterday. What do you think SoftBank stock did? They made $5.6 billion on their Nvidia stake this time. They've done it multiple times, but this time they made 5.6 billion, cashed it out. Okay. And what do you think the stock did?
what Nvidia yesterday? I mean, it was
No,
down. Back up
SoftBank.
today. Oh,
Soft.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it went down over 10%. Okay. So you know what this guy did. He took his money out of Nvidia and gave it to Sam Altman. Okay. And the market is not that happy about that, especially at the valuations that OpenAI is trading in the pre IPO market, which is
What do
over.
you mean he gave it to Sam Altman? Can you clarify? What do you mean by
Yeah,
that?
they made an investment in OpenAI. They invested in OpenAI, and the market was not pleased that they took their money out of Nvidia and put it in OpenAI. And the funniest thing is, they didn't even need to do that because the only way that OpenAI can succeed is if they kowtow to NVIDIA and meet all the hurdles that they promised to NVIDIA. So I don't understand the trade. It doesn't make sense to me. It's a very risky trade, and the market took it that way. So they took that money out and they're investing in OpenAI. So that is a much listen, NVIDIA, we know what you got. Okay, OpenAI, you have zero. You got a guy who is a snake oil salesman that is basically getting people to invest at extremely high valuations, crazy valuations, making OpenAI with $13 billion in gross revenue a top 10 company in the world. Okay, OpenAI is a top 10 company in the world. Okay, on valuation. Okay, I don't see it, but we'll see how all that plays out. But that may be the canary in the coal mine that gets this market really thinking. And listen, with anything, whether it be the internet or whatever, there's fits and starts. There's problems. There's companies that go out of business. There's frauds. There's a bunch of stuff. We're in early days of this, and you're going to see a lot of action. And, it's funny. I'm hoping, that we get a little before the end of the year. You know, I'm not so positive that will happen because this is a very tightly wound rigged market. But certainly next year, when we walk in on January 2nd or whatever, 3rd, and we start trading for the new year, where every PM is flat money, every hedge fund manager is flat money, it's a lot riskier to hold positions. And that leads me a little bit back to, what we talked about yesterday in Bitcoin. Um, how you're saying, the big guys that made the money are out. There are a bunch of small guys that are getting in, or smaller guys that are getting in. But here's what I would tell you, as someone that's traded for very many years, okay? When I was unstoppable, Eric? When I was unstoppable? Unstoppable. Okay. In September, October, November, and December of a year when I was up a lot of money. How are you going to beat me? You can never beat me because I had P&L. I had a stack of money. Okay. And I was risking partial amounts. The hardest part was getting up the money. So I don't know who is thinking that guys that are up a fortune of money getting out, okay, that would never have to sell. If you bought Bitcoin at 8,000 or 4,000 or 2,000 or even 20,000 and it's trading 100,000, why would you ever need to sell? You'd need it to go down a real lot for you to be in trouble. But now you have new buyers buying at 18,000, 20,000, 23,000, you know, 108,000. They're all down money. They don't have strong hands. So the beauty of trading and the beauty of mastering how to trade is how to maneuver using your P&L to size up and get bigger. And it goes back to, I always tell this story. I made $1,000. People always said, "Hey, what's your best trading day ever?" And the best trading day I ever had was when I made $1,000. You know why? No,
Risk man, I don't know. Tell me.
because I could figure out that I could do it. Okay, up to that point, I couldn't make any money. I couldn't make $1,000. Then I made 1,000, and then you know what the next bogey was? 10,000. Then 100,000. Then 1,000,000. Then 10,000,000. Then 50 million, 100 million, whatever. Okay. But the bottom line is that's how you become, and it's not trader. Okay. Like, oh, you're a great trader. It's not. It's being a great money manager. Okay. And when your guy gets out there all over the internet, who we won't mention the name, and he starts saying how great it is that guys that are up a fortune are getting out to a bunch of clowns that are buying one lots and eight lots, okay, and have no positive P&L in the product. That's a problem, actually. To me, that's the first red flag. Listen, look what happened in Nvidia yesterday. Why do you think Nvidia was down yesterday?
SoftBank.
Exactly. Exactly. Why isn't that a good thing? In the world that you're living in, that you talk about distribution or whatever, why would the stock be down? It should be up, right? Because a bunch of clowns bought the smartest guy in the room who made 6 billion got out. Okay? Come on. I mean, it's what I'm telling you, it's just, you
Wow,
know,
that Bitcoin narrative really got to you. Huh?
no, it didn't get to me because it's just not correct. It's not correct. You can't have control. The only way you can have control of something is if you're up a lot of money. You can't have control of Bitcoin. How can you control? How could you feel in control of Bitcoin if you're long at 120, it's trading 100? How are you in control? You're not. You're praying. You're in the fetal position, which I've been in before, rocking back and forth, praying that it doesn't go down more. Okay. So I'm not understanding on the control factor that I had control when I had my hedge fund, meaning like I felt unbelievably unbeatable when I had massive positive P&L. So here you got a scenario
What
where,
should people? I mean, so what should people do with that thought? Given
well,
Bitcoin is up.
I think to become good at money management and trading or even investing, okay, it's understanding how to use a positive P&L to get bigger. And the hardest thing, and I talked to you about it on the air or off the air, I'm sorry, about, with your hedge fund and how you're going to grow and how hard it is to grow, okay, is to go from trading one lot, or 100 shares to trading 1,000 shares, to trading 10,000 shares, to trading 100,000 shares, to trading 1,000,000 shares. Okay. And the guys that are the best in the business had the ability to grow. And, what I always heard as a hedge fund manager, and even as an investor, but as a hedge fund manager, oh, and you say it sometimes to me, it's only percentages. You if you have 1,000,000, you got to make you know 100,000 to make 1%. Well, guess what? If you never made 100,000, you know how hard it is to make 100,000. Doesn't matter about the percent. It matters about how you grow into growing your portfolio, growing yourself as a trader, etc. So, that these are lessons that I think are important. And one of the things that I've managed hundreds of traders in my career, and the one thing that I've seen, and I call it going on tilt, a lot of traders that have traded for me, okay, were bigger than they've ever been down the most money. Does that make the most sense to you?
No.
Well, that's what happens. People go on tilt, okay?
No, one thing I picked up from you is when you're wrong, you start to size down and you're quiet. And, you wait.
You put a
You
P
know,
on the page. That's my mantra. Just put a pod. Listen, there have been many, many times I was searching for a positive day. Like we'd be in a bad, couple of day run, and all I wanted to do is make a little bit of money to stop the bleeding. And I think that's important. Um, but really, the lesson here, and what I don't understand when you talk about this distribution and you have new longs. Let me ask you a question. You own a stock, okay? Do you want a guy that just bought the stock in the stock, or do you want a guy in the stock that's up, 75, 100%? To me, I want the guy up 100% because he's got strong hands. He's never selling, okay? But if I got new clowns, as I say, in my stock, that causes me a big issue, and it's really not as prevalent in stocks.
yeah,
It's
we just saw this with gold. I'll agree with that. We just saw that with gold when it was at 4,400. You had a bunch of weak hands come in, and just as soon as they come in, they came out. Um,
Eric, but you know why they came out? Because the thing dropped 15%. Okay. That they would have never come out. Okay. They got annihilated. And that is what will happen in the market, and it will happen in Bitcoin. There's a number in Bitcoin where these guys
right,
can't.
you're looking for this drop like imminently, right? The way that the everything is shaping out, I just feel like with the incremental tax burden, I remember a conversation I had at the end of 2021 with a big RIA firm, the CIO in the company, and I laid out the case for inflation is coming, the Fed is wrong, they're going to have to catch up, we're going to have a bear market, which we did in 2022. He agreed with everything I said, everything to the T, everything. And he was like, I will not decrease one share of allocation this year. He's like, it doesn't make sense to my clients. He's like, how much do you think the market should fall? I'm like, let's say a correction is 10% for starters. He's like, that's not enough for me to make a move.
Listen, an
And after
RI,
that
an
conversation, I
RIA,
really,
an
but hold on,
RIA is
Larry, hold on. After that conversation, that kind of changed my way of thinking a little bit. Where I'm like, yeah, you could have you could have storm clouds, overhead in the market. You could have a lot of negative things in the market, but if structurally the market isn't ready to sell, nothing is going to happen, or very little is going to happen. Would you agree with that or no?
no. I
No,
think there are
no, you
no.
wouldn't.
I
No.
no. Well, I'm gonna just let me tell you why. Okay, you're talking to an RIA. Okay, 90% of RIAs are stockbrokers. Okay, now they're called RIAs because they're registered investment advisors. But when I grew
That's
up,
not the type. That's not the type. I mean, these people were managing assets.
so
With
what? So what? They're managing assets. I know stockbrokers or RIAs that manage billions and billions. And I would tell
yeah,
you this, Eric, I would tell you this, and I love all of them and I need all of them for my Wizard ETF, but I they don't know anything about options. How are you managing someone's money when you don't even know what an option is? Okay, because they're outsourcing the money to other people. There are shops that do it in house, and I respect that. But overall, they're outsourcing. So they get paid a management fee. And on top of that, they got to pay a management fee. So the people that are invested in these RIAs or have their money with an RIA are getting double feed. Um, so I think an RIA looks at a market. Why would an RIA maneuver a position for a 10 or 20% move? Why do they care? They don't care. Why do they care? Let me ask you, what RIA is moving positions around because they're worried about a 10% move? I'm just trying to understand. So that's where I disagree with you. They're not moving positions. The only time they're moving positions is when we have a 40, 30, 20 to 40% correction. And then they're moving positions because they're forced to from their clients. They're not moving. Why would an RIA move a position today? Or go to cash. What's the benefit? Tell me the benefit.
well, there's some RIA firms that it's not just percentage of AUM, right? I mean, they need to show performance,
They
don't
do?
they?
No. No. No, no, no. Okay, let me ask you a question. The S&P is up just hear me out. The S&P is up 17% for the year. There are no RIAs up 17% unless you're dead ass long the market. They have other products, they have some money in cash. So their blended rate, they're up 9, let's say this year, if that. Okay. What client is pulling their money from an RIA if the market's up 16 and they're up 9? None. So the bottom line is they want to be positive. They know they're going to trail the market because they're not in the market 100%. And they're not looking to hit home runs. They're looking to basically have smoother type returns, not blow people up, and not have anybody, basically care. But listen, even when I ran my hedge fund, okay, if the market was up 20% for the year and I was up 6, you know how much money came out of my hedge fund? None. Zero. No dollars. Okay. Now, if I was down and the market was up, yeah, then you got a problem. Okay. But if the market was down and I was down, didn't have a problem. Market was down and I was up, other than '08, where we had a problem that everyone had to liquidate because no one had any money. Um, so I don't know, with the RIA, I mean, come on, Eric, they're looking to basically, have returns that are slightly less than the S&P without the same volatility. So I don't know. That's what I would say, but I'd like to get to the markets a little bit. S&P, since we've been on the air, is up 20 handles. Um, I don't know. What do you think today?
Um, my iron condor yesterday succeeded by the skin of its teeth. It was a difficult trade. Uh, I think I'm going to put that on again today. I think usually after a big move off the low like we had, I mean, the market is up about 210 points from the low. There should be a little period of consolidation here. I think. Right.
You're not worried about the downside of your iron condor. You're putting
Uh,
them in 20 in the market.
I well, I'm worried about the upside too. I'm worried about both sides, but I think if if I could get something where on a 10-point spread, 40 points out, I could get like $3 or close to that on a 10-point iron condor. I think I'm putting that on today.
Okay. Um, I am going to pick a direction after the opening. I think the market on the top side is pretty high. I'm a little bit more worried about the downside per se. Again, I would keep an eye today on Apple and Nvidia. Apple is down on the day, Nvidia is up. They took that spread way out of line yesterday. So maybe get a little bit of a retracement, getting that back into line. Bond market held the 415 area on the 10-year. It's backing down to 407. I don't really know what they're trading off of because there's really no data out
Right.
there. So, it's back and forth off of that. And, the currency kind of flat. Uh, dollar British, dollar's looking a little bit stronger. Dollar euro a little bit stronger, and dollar yen, at 150, almost 155. Um, I went to Japan a year ago. It was 140. I wish I went today. The dollar was strong then too, but now it's very, very strong. Um, Gold sitting around unchanged. I know you like it. I'm short some upside call spreads here.
I actually like silver more than gold here for right now.
Okay. Why? Because it's up 1% and gold's flat? Is
No,
that
no. So with when they sold gold off, you had huge outflows come out, right? You had huge inflows come in, bring it to the high, retail comes out, you had huge outflows. You've already seen inflows come back into gold over the last couple of weeks. We're seeing that. But where we haven't seen that at all is in silver. So I'm looking for the flows to catch up a little bit there.
but
Uh,
why? Let me ask you this. What somebody bought gold at 4,300. Okay. It goes to 3,900. You're down 10%. Why are you selling? Like, I don't understand. Like, you're telling me these guys are holding forever, they can hold Bitcoin forever. Why are they selling on a quick down 10% move? Why? It makes no sense. You're on
well,
one
I
hand, you're
I
telling
think
me
I think the nature of the person that came into gold for the first time when it was above 42, 4,300 were momentum chasers. And as soon as they saw that momentum leave the door, they were out.
on a
And they're like,
2-day
why did I
event.
buy gold? I could have been
Wait,
in Nvidia.
timeout. Wait. But in Bitcoin, it's gone down way more from the high, and they're fine. How come wait, it's a different investor than the guy buying gold? Bitcoin
Exactly.
traded 130,000. It traded 100,000. It's down 25%, which is way more than gold, and everybody's fine. So I'm not understanding why you really think that the gold investor came in and then, like, a week later or 2 weeks later, sold it all out. Like, why?
Oh,
Like,
because you
it's never
literally see.
happened in the history of any product.
Yeah,
Every
I think
product out there, it's never happened. It hasn't happened in Bitcoin. It hasn't happened in S&P. It hasn't happened in anything. So why do you actually believe,
just because you
okay,
see it, I don't believe it. I just see it in the data. I mean,
yeah, but you don't know if that's retail. You don't know if that's hedge fund. You don't know if that's shorts, people coming into the market that are shorting. I don't know. It's very, very hard to determine. But to me, it goes against your theory of diamond hands, how retail, okay, who has no profits, okay, and came into gold at 4,300, has diamond hands, or they come into Bitcoin at 120,000. I'll
have
give
you
them the
ever talked
benefit
to
of
like
the
a
doubt. How
real?
do they have
Have you?
diamond hands?
I'll tell you, it's a different trader, different investor. If you ever talk to like a Bitcoin diehard or like an OG, they don't like gold. When we have conversations, I'm like, okay, you like Bitcoin, but then you should also be buying gold. And none of them like gold. None of them buy. It's a completely different investor.
Okay. I mean, I think this is all the same investors. This is a risk on investor. If the S&P is down 70 today, you'll see Bitcoin crushed. You'll see gold crushed. Okay. I mean, gold is up a little tiny bit today, because the only reason why is because the market you like, which is already up 1.5%, is, silver is up almost 1.5%. So it's holding gold in. Gold should be lower, but overall, just looking at the
Actually,
market.
look, there's a pattern in gold. You ready for the pattern? So
Mhm.
it's Asia usually buys, Europe usually buys, and then America usually sells that off in gold. That's usually the pattern. What you
I
saw,
Gold's
that's
up
how
50. Gold's up 60% for the year. Nobody's selling gold off.
last
Okay.
night. Last night it was for the first time in a while. I saw since gold corrected. I saw Asia selling, Europe selling, and now it's right back to unchanged, a little higher. I'm just saying, if I see the U.S. start buying gold today, I'm going to look at that as a very very bullish into year end.
You're going to get a year-end call right now off of whether they're going to buy gold this afternoon or today. That's going to be your year-end thing for today. Dude,
I have
listen,
the
I'm
year end
so
thing
happy
in.
about this podcast today. We've solved a lot of problems for the world. Everyone watching is, if gold rallies today, we're good for the rest of the year. No problems. All I'm saying, Eric,
Are you
is
short gold right now? Just
I
tell
am
me.
short gold right now. Yes, I'm short gold spreads. I'm not that big, but yes, I am short gold. My gold
Okay.
goes off the board today. Okay, right now I'm at the Mendoza line. You know, I have cap spreads for $2 and $3. I mean, my max risk is very small, and I am shorted. I'm pretty much even on the trade right now. But overall, look at oil. Somehow you said you liked oil yesterday. I haven't heard a word about that today.
Yeah.
But what happened? Are you
Not
in
only
it?
did I
Not in
buy
it?
oil,
Because you haven't mentioned it all day. Yeah.
you say I'm perfect for this business, right? I only talk about my winning trades.
Exactly. So I don't know. I'm assuming you don't have it,
I
but
have it. I'm in it. Not only did I buy oil, I also bought RBOB gasoline, and I also bought EQT, and I also bought Diamondback Energy. I
dude, you
went
just buy.
I went ham on energy yesterday.
You did.
I went ham.
Oil is not performing well today.
No,
I
but
don't
you know what?
understand it. I mean, I do understand it. I think in oil, to be honest, there's a inherent Trump put in that market that every time it looks like it's going to go up, Trump, the players step on it, knowing Donald wants lower oil prices. So, um, listen, I think on the next flip down, I think we got it to 57 on the low. 56, 57. I mean, I think that's an area that you could try to own this thing, even maybe 58. If we get a
Armor,
58.
I bought above 60. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. What I'm seeing there is some movement in the June December calendar spread for next year. I think that's on a breakout, and that's what I look for. I look for far dated calendar spreads to kind of give me a clue on it,
Mm.
and I think I saw that yesterday. So probably gonna sit in it. But there was like a big.
Dude,
It felt like
let me tell you something. I'm gonna call you the little. We used to have these Bunsen burners. I don't even know if kids had that, but like in science, we had this little Bunsen burner thing where it had a flame. You're my little Bunsen burner, dude. You could take heat like nobody's business. If crude goes down another 3%, you're fine. I don't get it. I'm in S
amazing.
and P's, a five handle move in S and P's, and I'm
Well,
like.
you've said it. You've said it before. If you have other positions that are allowing you to stay in your trade that you like a little bit longer, you don't have to get stopped out so quickly.
Agreed. And I'll tell you, it's funny you bring that up. We talked a lot about money management. We talked a lot about how you grow your position sizing and your P&L. And one of the greatest things that I was able to do through my career was I was able, and it's hard, very hard to do it now because there's not a lot of trading. But before the algo existed, there was amazing trading up and down. And I would trade 100,000 E-mini S&Ps. I don't know if people understand how much volume that is. The thing does the thing does a million a day. I would tell you that we were 5% of the volume. Me personally, hitting buttons, we were 5% of the volume on a daily basis, enhancing our P&L. And yes, you're 100% right. You look, what you need to do as a trader, as a money manager, is look at your position in aggregate, meaning look at all of your positions. You may be getting hit in Nvidia today if you're short, but if all your other positions are working, now you have a new spot where you're short Nvidia. So it gives you, by trading, adding P&L, having positions that are working, it gives you the ability to stay in. It's just, I'm worried about you hitting buttons to get out when stuff isn't working, because everybody stays everybody stays too long, in general, and that causes a problem. Now listen, we're in a market right now, is the most utterly forgiving market. I think people have forgotten what a market can do to you. Like, could you imagine if we had a down 2% day, 2.5, followed by another two, followed by another two? What do you think would happen in the market if we had a 6.5% pullback in 3 days?
Markets in turmoil on CNBC.
Exactly. So that to me leads me to the fact that
But
the
that's not
world.
fair. That's not fair because the Nasdaq I think dropped 5% from the high uh, to the low last week.
Okay. And then whoever bought Nvidia and watched it go from 200, Nvidia traded $218. It traded down to 179. That's a pretty damn big move. Okay. And nobody sold the share, and now it's back to 195. Okay. So as long as the market comes back, which it always does, then there's no problem, Eric. But talk to me when the market doesn't come back and we're sitting down and people, listen, I always say this, and we're going to get close to wrapping because I want to get people ready for the opening, and, hopefully people got something today from this. But Bernie Madoff would have never been discovered if it wasn't for 2008. He'd still be, he'd probably still be alive, and he'd still be going right now. The only reason why Bernie Madoff got caught was why? Why do you think Bernie Madoff got caught?
Uh, I don't remember. I wasn't even trading back then.
Okay, well, Bernie Madoff got caught, okay, because he had massive redemptions. And the only reason why anyone would redeem from Bernie Madoff made 12% a year every year. He was up in 2008 somehow. He never made a real trade. But what happened was, and it happened to me and my hedge fund, we had $1 billion under management. Within a month and a half, because of my liquidity terms, I had 200 million under management. We lost 80% of our capital. We were up 17 or 18%. We got it all back within a year, but people didn't know where they were. So people needed the money from Bernie to pay their bills, to make sure they had capital. So that's how Bernie got caught, was because he didn't have the money. The Ponzi scheme, he was paying, Paul to pay Harry, and, getting more inflows and paying out. And then all of a sudden he had max outflows. And that's how he got caught. So in this market, it's the same thing. Nobody is going to sell a single thing until they have to. There's no one sitting in their office today going, I've made 100% in Nvidia in the last year and a half and I want to get out. Not one person. There is no one. Okay. So the only way we're going to see like what we're talking about here is when we see lower prices. Obviously, that's not happening today, and it may not happen, for the rest of the year, although there are things out there that are disturbing to me. Okay. One is I know the government shutdown never sold us off, but somehow when a government gets back in business, it's bullish. I get all of that. But where is the government? Don't you think they were panicking over the weekend? They needed to open the government. They're not even going to vote today. I don't know when they're voting to open the government. Why can't they get the vote done? Why is this so difficult? Tell me why. Why is it so difficult? If they have the votes, why is it so difficult?
Uh, I don't
Dude,
know.
you don't know a lot today. It's
I
it's
don't know
very it's
because
very
you ask such
difficult.
questions. It's like I don't know.
Well,
Your
I
question.
think I think Trump doesn't care. If Trump cared, he'd be calling these guys back. He wants the government to stay closed. He doesn't care. Okay. The bottom line, it fits his agenda. Okay. That's number one issue out there. The market has rallied two different times on the government reopening, except it hasn't reopened. Okay. That's one. Two. Okay. We have the Supreme Court ruling, okay, on tariffs that now no one's talking about. Last week, everyone was freaking out that he doesn't that it's going to be deemed unconstitutional, which is the way it's probably going to go. But since the justices, have been told, take your time, we want to see what we can do to change this thing around, you're not hearing anything about that. So that's sitting up. So those are two things sitting up. Okay, the government, I'm assuming, will reopen at some point, but I'm not understanding why it can't. Okay, the second thing is the Supreme Court ruling. And then the third thing that's the most angering is this China trade deal situation, that China's slow playing us. Where's China? He's talking about a deal with India and a deal with Switzerland. Where's China? Isn't that the only one that we really care about?
It's
Doing a deal.
always it's always 2 weeks away.
I'm just
Always
saying,
2 weeks.
but nobody cares. So the bottom line is there's a lot of stuff out there that is, I think, potentially negative. It's not in the market right now, but those are things that we're going to keep an eye on. Okay. Again, I'm telling you, the market's up 20, and it's just shocking. I'm just hoping that we remain calm. You're doing some iron condor. I hope it works. Um, but I think
What are you planning for your customers? They're asking in the chat.
I don't
They
know.
want to see.
I think I'm looking to sell some upside. For full disclosure, I think we've made money 17 days in a row. So I'm getting a little leery of putting these positions on because, 17 days in a row is a lot. Okay. The product is up, product is making money again. It'll
How's
be
that a lot? How is that a lot? Like, so Joe DiMaggio had a 44 game hitting streak.
56 games,
Oh,
56.
50, 56.
56. But yes, I
You
would
know,
say that I would jolting Joe. I I actually caught a Joe DiMaggio ball when I
crazy.
was when I
That's
was
great.
9 years old. I was at Cooperstown. Joe DiMaggio was putting on a hitting display. He hits a ball down the left field line. There was, if you've ever been, anyone's been to Cooperstown, it's the coolest stadium, but it's tiny. It's like a high school stadium. I go under the rope and I snag the grounder on the left field line. Okay. Then I was in overnight camp. Guys that were older said to me, "Hey, can I see it?" I let the guys have it. They stole it from me.
Uh,
So that was my first introduction into life. But anyway, let's do this because we're close. I don't see a lot on the trading side. Oil is starting to look interesting. I don't like it at this level, maybe a little bit lower, or maybe sell a put spread down. We're going to probably do that this morning. Gold is kind of right on the Mendoza line. I actually think gold doesn't look good. If silver comes in, gold will go negative. So, keep an eye on silver. Bonds, no man's land. Probably put out a short if it rallies to 403 on the 10-year. Still long the dollar euro, although it's, middle of the road today. And that's really what I see. And we got 5 minutes to the opening. I don't know if you want to close on anything, but I hope today, we tried to go over risk management, how to size up your positions, how to use positive P&L to grow your account. I think these are very, very important things. And For me, managing hundreds of traders, what I've seen, which is one of the critical mistakes, is being bigger than you've ever been at when you're down the most money. So make sure that you keep your P&L under control, and remember that you can grind back your P&L.
Yeah, I want to give them. I want to give your people a couple of things I'm looking at. So I'm looking at Pfizer. I'm looking at some boring stocks people don't usually look at. I'm not even paying attention to the AI trade today. I'm looking at Pfizer. I'm thinking about putting on like a 6 month call option. Uh, around $28 strike. I think that looks very interesting technically and with all the news out there. So I'm looking to get long that. And I'm looking at I continue to see a potential big opportunity in real estate stocks. So, put up St. Joe on your board, put on FICO. I think FICO
Right.
is a very interesting indicator here.
FICO. All right. I'll take a look.
Ticker
I
FICO.
know I'm going to hear about FICO for like the next month, and then we'll never talk about it. We'll talk about it every day for a month, and then we'll never talk about it. I love it. But anyway, I'm starting to see this trade in gold and silver a little bit. So keep an eye on silver. If it weakens up, gold should go negative on the day. I like that trade. Oil, I know you got diamond hands and you can hold oil forever,
Just
but
tell me when you're buying. I'm going to join you. I'm going to double down.
why? I don't ever like to double down. I think that that's
Okay.
some biggest mistake in trading is,
Yeah, but come on,
listen,
dude. Within the context of the portfolio, just stop. It's a small position. I'm
oh,
going to double down
dude,
when you
you
buy.
say that about every. I want to know when Eric
Tell me
Shamilov
when you're
puts on
buying,
a real
so I could
position.
buy some more.
Every
I'll
time you come on, you're like, "Oh, it's small, it's small, it's small." Well, I don't know. I don't know. If you liked oil up there, why would you go small? Like, I'm not saying go huge, but why
because
would you
I got the
go?
stocks too. I went into the stocks as well.
Okay. Well, listen, we're 3 minutes to the opening. I wish everyone luck today. Keep an eye on oil. We're going to be buying a little bit lower. It's down about a buck. It's actually down a couple. It's almost down 2.5%. Gets
Yeah,
down 3.5%. We're a buyer in there. Gold, we're going to short it as if we see weakness. I'm already short, but we're going to short more on weakness. And again, we like the currencies versus the dollar, than uh, other than the yen. And I wish everyone good luck trading. Hope you got a lot from us today, and enjoy the day. Peace.